What's up, guys? In this episode we are going to be upgrading some stuff around the shop. One thing I got was a new toolbox. So basically just a little side, I'll show you here in a second, but a little side box that I didn't have for my Harbor Freight toolbox. But the even bigger one is a new air compressor. So let's check it out. It's going to be hard to see behind the Triumph here, obviously, but if you remember, I had the little side box, the main box there, and then this was like an empty hole that I built for this exact reason, the opening in that whole workbench area, to fit that extra side toolbox. So I got that, so that's in there and all set up, but the main thing I wanted to show you was this beast over here. So this is my new air compressor. That was my old air compressor. It was a little 21-gallon Harbor Freight piece of junk. I mean, it worked all right, but it was obnoxiously loud and did not have nearly enough CFM output to, definitely not enough to run the blast cabinet. You know, it could run like an impact or some smaller tools, something like that. But if you wanted to use like a, you know, angle grinder, DA, something like that, it did not have enough CFM. So I've been kind of trolling on Craigslist like I tend to do all the time, and came across this big ass 6.5 horse 80-gallon air compressor. It was a local fab shop here in Austin that had it as a spare and never really used it, and they ended up not needing it, so they listed it up. I got this for about $200 less than the cheapest 60-gallon I could find new, and I heard it run and fire up and build pressure, and it has pressure in it right now, and it's sealed and everything's great. So the beauty of this compressor too is it's a manufacturer that's still in business and still, you know, you can still get parts for it. So if I end up, you know, a year or two down the road having to rebuild the, you know, motor, replace the motor, or rebuild something, you know, the parts are available, and even with that expense, I'm still way, you know, cheaper than buying a brand new one, especially in a 6.5 horse 80-gallon. These run well over $1,000 new, and I got it for less than half that. So really excited about it. The one thing I need to do today, and what will be probably the main subject matter of this video, is I do not have a 220 plug in my garage, which I wanted to add one anyway for my TIG welder. So this is going to be the reason to do it. And luckily it's the same exact plug. So my fuse panel's right here. I already got it pulled off to make sure I grab the right you know, breaker and kind of plan out exactly how I'm going to do it. My goal here is just to come out of the wall, a little bit of conduit, and I'm literally going to mount the box right here so that I can plug the compressor into it most of the time, but then it's nice and easy access when I want to plug in the welder. So it's just going to go right there, pretty high, so it'll be above the workbench, but it should be basically straight across. So now let's run to Home Depot and buy everything I need. Alright, here's everything I got from the store. Hopefully it's enough. I got some 1/2-inch conduit, some 10-gauge Romex wire, breaker, 290s for the conduit, some mounts for the wall, so a couple straight piece to go straight into the side of the box here, plate cover, and then of course the plug itself. So that should be everything I need. I'm not going to really go step by step on how to do this, just because I am not an electrician, and I've done it a handful of times, but not enough to be confident to show you guys how to do it, and then you do it and you electrocute yourself or you burn your house down or something. So I'm just probably going to set up a quick little time lapse or something as I kind of plan it out and get it set up, and then I'll kind of bring you guys back you know, as I go once it's going. After this, hopefully tomorrow or the next day, I did order a big hose reel, retractable hose reel thing, a regulator and filter and all the connections and everything for this. So what I'm probably going to do is shift this over, you know, pretty close to that wall on the left there, and then build a bracket right off of this. And we did the exact same thing on a very similar compressor that my brother has, but basically going to use some angle iron, build a little bracket off, and the hose reel will actually mount to the compressor itself on this right hand side here, and all the regulator and everything will all be kind of contained in that one unit. But of course that stuff's not here yet. I just ordered it today, so it'll be here in the next couple of days, but that'll be probably later in this video that we'll kind of go into detail on how we do that. So let's get started on the wiring. Boom, here we are. So you can see you got the box with the plug, little conduit into a 90 into the wall, through the wall, out into the box itself. I had enough room for two, so if I wanted to add another one, or I might actually, I don't have very many plugs in here, so I may eventually just add a whole bunch more 110s off of here. But anyway, that bottom one is the new plug. So you can see the black and the white go into that. That new copper one that goes down is for the 220. So it's on now. I'm going to test it with, well, to be honest, I already tested it, but I'll show you guys with the welder. So 220 plug, plug it in, flip the switch. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but she's on. So works great. Let's try the air compressor now. And I don't think this thing has a normal on-off switch from what I can find. I think it's just kind of the standard pressure switch. So it will probably just turn on as soon as I plug it in. So let's see. That's it. Sounds a bit on the slow side. I think that he said that belt was slipping. So I'm gonna see, I probably have to adjust that. Yeah, you do plug that. I need to adjust that belt. I think it might be a little bit too tight, but yeah, 220 plug works. So I'll mess around with that belt a little bit, and then we have that new stuff coming. So I'm gonna button all this stuff up, and then I'll bring you guys back in a day or two when the new parts arrive, and we will continue the air compressor upgrade. Air compressor project is officially up and running and done. So the new belt worked out perfect. Got that all set up, and it may turn on while we're sitting here. It does slightly lose air while it's just sitting. I'm not 100% where it's coming from. I can't really hear it losing air, but I see, like, if I, you know, it's at 125 and then I leave and come back an hour later, it's down to like 90. So just have to be aware of that. And you know, I'm not going to leave it on when I'm not using it, just because I don't want it to like turn on in the middle of the night and scare the crap out of my wife or I or something. So I'd rather just, you know, I'll just turn the breaker off, and then when I want to use it, I can just flip the breaker on, and then it'll fire right up. Or, you know, if I want to use the plug for something else, obviously I can do that too. But so we got it mounted on the hockey pucks through the bottom, and then bolted with some carriage bolts. So it's nice and kind of isolated from vibration, and it's really stable. Then we have the air comes out through this regulator. I have the regulator set to 100 psi, so when I'm actually using a tool, it drops down to 90 and stays at 90. And of course, I can mess with that. I can mess with that depending on what tools I'm using. So if I'm using like a blast cabinet or something like that, I can, you know, drop it down lower than that. And that's the beauty of having the regulator right there, is I can just kind of adjust it to whatever I want. So it goes through the regulator, through that hose right into the middle of my hose reel, and then hose reel is just mounted right here on the side, and then quick disconnect right on that. So just used some angle iron off the back and welded it in, and then bolted the actual hose reel to it. It seems really solid, so only time will tell if the vibration and stuff puts my welds to the test. But I put some pretty thick beads on there because, one, I didn't really care if it was, you know, what it looked like, and two, I obviously wanted to put as much metal as possible. But yeah, so big ass air compressor is up and running, and then 220 plug is up and running for the TIG welder when we're ready to do some thicker material. So I think that's probably going to do it for this video. Sorry that we didn't get to any Triumph stuff. I am coming to the conclusion that this bike is not going to be done by the Hand-Built Motorcycle Show, because that show is 3 weeks from today, I believe. Yeah, it's 3 weeks from today, and there's no way I'm building this bike in 3 weeks, especially when next weekend is the Lone Star Roundup, a big hot rod show that I'm going to be going to. Then the week after that is the wedding. I told you we're building or fixing up the 50 Ford for, and then it's the weekend after that. So both my next 2 weekends are pretty much taken up, so no way this bike's going to be done, which I'm okay with. That just means I can take my time and, you know, really do it the way I want and not rush through it, and make sure that, you know, I paint the whole frame and it looks nice, and you know, like I said, really just take my time and make it like a nice, like the nicest bike I've built to date, and one I'm going to want to keep for a while and show off and, you know, enjoy. So I'm going to take my time a little bit on that. I may even add some more projects to it now, like converting it over to a negative ground system, maybe use a Moto Gadget M unit for the wiring, which would be cool. That's something that I've never done before, and I'd like to learn, and you know, I think it could make for some pretty good content for the channel. So I will keep you guys updated whenever I order the shirts and everything and get those up and running. I just wanted to throw together this video to show you some shop updates. So make sure to like and subscribe and follow along, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.